I rise to support Amendment 470, which I've also signed, and I agree with every word that we've heard from the Noble Lady Chakrabarti and the Noble Lady Miller. This is reference to a deep vein of misogyny that existed then in the Met Police, and I rather suspect still exists, in spite of all the promises to the contrary. The Noble Lady Chakrabarti is so calm, and it always astonishes me how calm she stays when I know she feels exactly the way I feel about this, which is absolutely furious. And I know I stand up and I'm absolutely furious about quite a lot of things, but probably this actually plumbs the depth of my fury. It is. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. I actually tried to be a core participant in the Spy Cops inquiry, but the judge ruled, I forget which one it was, the first one, the judge ruled that it didn't apply to me because I'd been spied on by the regular police and not by the Spy Cops, and so I couldn't be part of it, which I was very disappointed about. But inherent in the police's behaviour was not only misogyny, but sexual exploitation. They used those women as pawns. And we've been looking at the Epstein files this week and over the past few years, but here we have an example in our own country of the most appalling misogyny. I don't understand how anybody can look at the Spy Cops inquiry and not seek to change the law on it. The women were not only treated as pawns by the police, but also their concerns when they started raising them were just brushed away. And they were brushed away by people who had authorised the police to do that very thing. And the power of the state to authorise criminal conduct should never be beyond scrutiny, but that's what happened in the Spy Cops case. I fully recognise, and I'm sure every noble lord in the House does, that covert human intelligence sources have a part to play in tackling serious crime. But recognising that role is not the same as giving a blank cheque to the police or any other organisation. And that, I'm afraid, is the current immunity-based system that we have and not only risks doing, but has done. At present, once authorisation is granted, the conduct authorised is decided lawful for all purposes. All purposes. Can the noble lord sitting on the government's front bench just hear that and just understand how appallingly open that is to abuse? History tells us why. We know from past undercover policing scandals that things can and do go wrong. Authorisations overdone, lives deeply harmed, and fundamental rights breached. And in some cases, it's only investigative journalism that actually brought all these abuses to light and actually exposed the truth for what had happened. And even then, those responsible have not faced accountability. And some of us have been working on this for 25 years. We've been raising these issues and being fobbed off again and again by government ministers who really ought to have looked harder. The last time I raised the issue of covert human intelligence sources, I raised it particularly in reference to children, and I was assured the numbers didn't amount to more than 10. And 10 is too many. 1 is too many. And somehow we accept it as a useful way of finding out what gangs are doing. Personally, I feel very strongly about human rights. The United Kingdom has binding obligations under the European Convention on Human Rights, especially in relation to torture, inhuman or degrading treatment, and modern slavery. A system that preemptively grants immunity risks putting us in breach of those obligations. And it matters for the protection of children who have been authorised as covert sources. I am deeply troubled by the fact that the police use children as covert human intelligence sources. In 2022, children were used in investigations involving Class A drugs and firearms, and some of those authorisations were not even reported in time for any oversight to happen. Children are not trained officers. They are children placed by the state into dangerous criminal environments. A system that grants advance immunity and shuts the door on judicial scrutiny offers them no real protection. That alone is reason enough to support this amendment that we're debating now. What it also offers is a judge's oversight after the event, not open-ended political reassurance beforehand. That's a model used successfully in other countries and reassures the public that no one is above the law, not even in the shadows. And I don't see this as asking us to choose between security and liberty. It asks us to recognise that you can't have lasting security without accountability. Now, I very much hope that we bring this back at report, and I hope that we get even more support, because it's interesting that it's 3 women here who have signed this amendment and 3 women who've spoken so far. And the fact is, if this House does not understand the relevance of this amendment, then itself is actually supporting the concept of misogyny and sexual exploitation and exploitation of children.